Hello everybody and welcome back to the Deeper Desert. We are here to continue on with our guide slash playthrough of the Deep Desert here in Dune Awakening. Now, a couple of things have changed since our previous episode, our starter one, which is this, the main one. I have swapped over to my assault ornithopter rather than my scout, as the storage on it was larger. You can tell it's just an assault because it has 3 wings on either side. And it also has the storage on it, which is much larger. I was able to fit everything in there, which is quite good. Saved myself considerable amounts of carry weight. Still holding some blade parts, which I was helping some friends move around in the base, so I don't really need those, but anyway. So yeah, and I have my scout saved in my vehicle backup tool. There we go. There's my scout there. Pop that one away as we don't need it right now. So, let's carry on from our previous episode. In the last one, we were talking about getting to the deep desert, things that you might want to bring with you when coming here, the travelling around on the world map, the various different sectors, and the sheer scale of it as well. As you can tell there, my base, or our guild base, is only, what, 2 sectors away? 1, 2, 3 sectors away, and that is 7,000 meters, or 7 kilometers, so yeah, it's quite a distance, quite a big map is this one, considering it's only 3 out of the 9 sectors available, so that makes it about 21 kilometers wide, roughly. But yeah, so in today's episode we're going to start building our deep desert base. We have the whole week to make use of this base and to showcase some of the things of it, so I'm probably going to try and do as much of that as possible. But first things first, we need to pick an area to actually build, and seeing as though it's deep desert and seeing as though the open sand areas here are quite clear and we don't have to worry about the worm, I'm not going to bother trying to find somewhere flat on the rocky bits. I'm just going to go find a bit of sand that's nice and flat so we can build a decent sized base. I think we might literally go right there in front of us. I would like to stay quite close by to these areas here, as they do have some of the basic crafting things that we'll need if we need them. I think here might be a really good spot. Let's drop ourselves down, shall we? Go. Yeah, I'm thinking this looks pretty good. So, we've arrived in the deep desert, we have all of our basic things with us, so we need to start building ourselves a base. Now, one of the main things about the deep desert, which I haven't actually mentioned yet, is the main bonus of being in the deep desert. Now, if you'll allow me to quickly pull up my notes, which I wrote for this series, because there is quite a lot to the deep desert, so I had to write myself a little list of things that I wanted to make sure I covered. Ah, yes, okay. So, in the deep desert, the main bonus of being here is that you have a 50% decrease in the cost of building anything, pretty much. And that is, when I say anything, I mean literally anything. So, let me start by showing you. Open the inventory, grab some salvage metal. That's the first thing we're going to need, because obviously the first thing we have to do is pop ourselves down a sub-fief. Now obviously we want an advanced sub-fief, so we get the increased build area. So we're going to pop that right there. Perfect, and my advanced sub-fief limit is now 2 out of 3. This is where we're going to start our base. Pretty much just this nice flat area, nothing too special about it. Next thing I'm going to want is some... Actually, what we might do is we might place a couple of storage boxes down these small ones, just so that we can access things to build with rather than having to keep pulling them out of the assault. So if I go right to the edge here, chuck a couple of these down. Might need more than 2, but we'll build 2 for now. Back over here. Go to the inventory. We don't need to do that because something you might not know, or you might not have noticed in the game so far, when you open a storage container, you can actually change which storage you're looking at on the left hand side. So this inventory here you can change. So it starts off with your backpack, shows what's in your bag, so you could drag the salvage metal in there. You can also do this. Click on this little drop down menu up here and you can select different inventories that are nearby in your base. So we can click on the assault and we can just freely transfer things over from there. Although it is looking like it's going to fill up very, very quickly. Let's see what else we can fit. Oh. Let's try and take those out, see if we can put those in. Maybe the copper? Yep, perfect. Put the 107 in there, and then this one we can literally just stick all of the granite. which isn't that heavy actually, and the fuel cells. Perfect. So now we can pretty much just shift our assault ornithopter out of the way and not have to worry too much about it being in the way. So if we move it to just behind those two storage boxes there, because that is outside of the subfief, so then we now have the whole area to build on. Bring out our build tool. So one of the main ones that I know is that the basic foundation for the, is it the chome? Let's open it up. I think it's this one. Granite stone 15 is what it requires. But then if you have a look at required materials, so if you look at the bottom of my screen where you can see the different build pieces we've got right at the bottom, just above that you've got favourite, structural, walls, wedge walls. Just above that on the right hand side you'll see required materials 8 for granite stone, not 15. And that is because of the 50% reduction in building cost. And that's for everything as well, so anything you build. But it's not just about building things, it's also about the machinery and stuff you put down, so all your machines now have half the cost. And it's also stuff like smelting, converting things into bars, turning other, like making stuff like cobalt paste, all that kind of stuff. It's all halved in terms of its cost. So it really is a good idea to get yourself a base up in the deep desert, even if it's just for converting things for a lot more than what you would have. So instead of, say, spending 5 copper ore to get 1 copper bar, it's now 2, or maybe 3. I'm not 100% sure on that one. We'll have to probably double check that. And the other inherent advantage of being able to do that, or having that half cost, is the fact that you can bring one machine over from your base. So let's just say you have yourself a medium ore refinery. If you bring that one medium ore refinery over, you can then build 2 ore refineries from that instead of just 1, because of the half building cost, naturally. So yeah, it's very useful. Apparently we cannot build this one here. Why can we not build this one here? Is it because of the subfief? Yes, it is. Right, so let's pick up the subfief and just move it over here. Go. And then go back to build. Ah, there we are. It was telling me not enough stability, but that was quite confusing because I believed that we did have enough. The sand on this side is raising up a bit too far. We should be okay. I basically just want to build a base big enough to have a whole bunch of machinery in, and then also have a hangar with a pentashield on top for my ornithopter, so that I can keep it out of the elements and away from taking any severe durability damage. Okay, I think that should be okay for now. So, not that one, we need to change the walls. What walls do we have? We've got these observer walls, which we got from streaming the game for a couple of hours when it first came out. I'm not sure if you still have access to that now. You probably do. I haven't paid a huge amount of attention. We do have a wide door as well that we could put in if we wanted to, say, have a vehicle hangar. Although the wide door isn't great for things like buggies and stuff, so it might be better off just having a pentashield for that instead. Got rounded walls we could put in. If we wanted to have a bit more of a rounded texture to the base, we could put one of these on each corner. Not the best time to be designing a base. I probably should have done this beforehand. That is one of the other good things that you can do, is you don't have to come out and build a completely new base every single time the Deep Desert resets. You can always build the ideal base that you want one week, and then the next week you come out, you can always just then use your, what's it called, the Salido projector, I believe it's called, where you can save a copy of the base's outline, and then just use that every week as well. So that will save you a bit of time having to rebuild. So this one needs to be moved. So can we move this one? Can we move this one? No. Okay, let's just demolish it. And then go back. Let's move it one in. There we are. Is that in line with that one? Yes, it is. And then let's go to... I haven't used this wall before. It's only using 5, which is quite useful. Build that along there. Probably have to go another one up, but we'll just finish that off just for the time being. Oh, let's not do that. Interface. There we are. I will try and speed this part up so you're not having to sit here and watch me build the entire thing. We might just have a bit of a skip. We'll probably have a little bit of a skip. Again, we're a bit too far. That's a bit too close to the land claim for this type of wall, so we're going to have to demolish that one, and do right to build corner. So yeah, what I'll do a little bit of a skip where we end up with the completed base, so you don't have to sit here and watch me build the entire thing, because it will take a little bit of time. I'll get it so that we've finished like building the actual walls and stuff rather than the machinery, so you can still see the machinery costs and stuff like that. Probably actually knock these down and go a bit further out actually. So let's do that. Okay, we are back. Right, as you can see, I've moved the assault ornithopter inside of the finished walls. This is just the basic construction I've made so far. It's just a 3 high, however many wide building that I've made, and I've moved the assault in here because I had to go back and fetch some more stuff from base. One thing I haven't done though is all of my boxes are still out here, I believe. Yes, they are. So we're going to have to carry some of this stuff back in, which is a bit of a pain, but shouldn't be that hard for us. One thing we will need to do, hopefully I picked up the materials to actually build that. Let's press number 6. I believe we did storage. We did, yes. So I've brought over one of these storage containers that uses aluminum ingots and silicon. So I put one of these down here. Only requires 23 aluminum and 4 silicon blocks. I even brought over the extra aluminum bar so that we could build 2 of these instead of just the one. There we go. Perfect. So we can now start transferring stuff into here. Let's just start dumping everything in. We might only need the 1 box as well. These are all the pieces I brought over from my home base. Let's hop back over there. I think it might actually be quicker for us to just transfer all of this stuff to the assault and then transfer again. So, assault. Stack it all in there. Demolish that one. And then assault once again. There we go. Come on. There we are. Perfect. And then demolish again. Perfect. Reclaim those materials. Jump over the wall. Back to the assault. And then transfer it all in. Look at that. Beautiful. Alright, so I've got everything in this one chest here, and then we can save this one for something else. Right, so I popped back to base so that I could grab the materials for the main thing, which is, if we go to all, a pentashield. So hopefully we can start this pentashield in the corner here, although I don't think it's going to let me. No, the pentashield does not like curved surfaces. So what we're going to have to do is press R once again. Back to the Chome building facilities, or the Chome facility foundations. We're going to have to do like a curved roof bit on it. Somehow. Let's go to roofs. Should it be this one, rounded inward? Would that work? No, I don't think that'll work. Going to have to... This isn't going to work either, I don't think. Nope. That's because we're looking at the wrong piece, that's why. There we go. We need to do this. Put one of these on each corner. I believe I have worked the dimensions well enough to fit the assault in here, even with having this one layer around the outside. But I was also thinking about building some stairs up and having a second floor to have all of my power on. That might work, possibly. Let's just keep it as a standard rooftop. We don't need to have anything too fancy. Quickly build this in here. Try not to waste too much time. Now, some other stuff I brought over from my base is 1 wind turbine and 1 wind catcher. So wind turbine for power, wind catcher for water. I believe I also brought over a blood purifier so that we can make advantage, or take advantage of Fade's Drinker and Baron's blood bag so that we can collect blood from NPCs whilst we're out and about. And also have those purifying and getting us water, because we are going to need lots of water for crafting in the deep desert. Go. Right, let's... Actually, we can probably do this from down here. Back to all. Go to... No, we need to go to this one. Pentashield surface horizontal. And then we have to drag it all the way over to this corner here. There we go. And build it. There we go. Now, we can't see the pentashield yet. The reason is that we don't have any power in the base. And we are going to stick a second pentashield in, which is probably going to be too high this way. Not sure if we're going to bring a buggy out here yet, so we'll leave it as just the roof one for now. So, Now that we have these extra little bits around the outside here, it does give us a place that we can build our 2 wind traps, because we brought 1 wind trap with us, but because we have halved material cost, we can just stick 2 of them down. And the same with the wind turbine. We brought 2 wind turbines so that we can just stick these 2 down. That 1 wind turbine turns into 2 at the cost of 1 back in the overworld. It's a brilliant mechanic. I do enjoy it. Same with our blood purifier, which should be in the refinery section. There it is, improved blood purifier. Let's stick you on this corner here, just so that you're underneath the wind traps, so that all the water collection is in one place. Now, we didn't bring any water storage with us, which was a bit silly, but we can always sort that out soon. I did also bring the materials for a medium ore refinery, so we're going to stick these 2 over here for now. Right. And do we have enough for a standard fabricator? Yes, we do. We're going to need the standard fabricator because we're going to need to obviously power our wind traps and our turbines. And there is no power currently, so one other thing we're going to have to build is the standard generator, which is the fuel powered one, which is one of the reasons why I'm glad I brought a bunch of fuel cells with me. Oh, we shouldn't put these here actually. Let's actually no, we'll put these here. We'll put these here for now. Build, stick a second one next to it. There we go. Alright, we should be able to just put fuel cells directly in there. Wow, that was an exact split of the 107 I have on me. I was not expecting that. Oh, I did not mean to deposit 500 in there. That's bad. That's 106, 607. We just put in that one. Let's put that 107 in there. Ah, that was silly. No power. Is it because we're needing 433 and we only have 150, so we're going to have to go around and turn off all of these for now. Disable them so they're not using the power, so that we can get the power up and running. Quite a lot of power required. Disabled. Let's go up to here. Let's turn these 2 big ones off as well. Disable. 75 power, so this should take us just below what we need. We're also going to have to make some filters for these. There we go. Our shield on the base is now up and running. The pentashield is now also running as well. Now, do we have enough power to run this one? 10. Yes, we do. Now, we need to make some. Find them. Don't even know if we can make them here. We need a Solido replicator. So we're going to build one of those. I don't think we have the ability to build them in this one. We're looking for the filters that go in the wind turbines. Is it the filters? It might not be the filters. It might be something else. Let's go and double check first. I believe it's oh, we need a chemical refinery for that one. So for the wind turbines, we need lubricant. Now these are standard wind turbines, so they only need a low grade lubricant, and they're fairly easy to make. But we are going to need a fair bit because we have 2 of them. So in order to build that, or in order to get that, we're going to need a chemical refinery. Small chemical refinery, there we go. Are we going to be able to put this down and use it though, is the question. Let's put it next to the ore ones. Seems to be running, perfect. Alright, low grade lubricant, what do we need? Water, fuel cells, and silicon blocks. So this is the beginnings of the base. Now obviously I have a few power issues, which is something that I'm going to deal with in the downtime between episodes. I don't really want to waste your time right now watching me go back and forth between bases and stuff like that. There's obviously some things I've forgotten to bring with me. One thing I could do, if I really wanted to, is I could just dump some water in here, but we don't have the fuel cells, nor do we have the silicon, I believe, in order to make the lubricant. No, we don't even have silicon blocks, which means we're going to have to go and get some flower sand as well, or go back to base and bring them over with us. So that is pretty much most of the things I want to show you with base building. The half cost of everything is just fantastic. It just makes life so much easier, especially when you're looking at going into the endgame stuff. You need a lot of things. There is something called a large spice refinery, which does cost 10,000 spice to use. Now, this is spice sand, which you'll obviously gather when you're out and about. So when you see the kind of purple sections of sand that you can then go and use the compactors on, or if you go to the very large one in the deep desert, which has, I believe, over 250,000 spice sand in it, and you can use the sand crawler on that. That's the sand that you need, and you need 10,000 of that to use the large spice refinery, and that gives you 200 spice melange, which is the whole reason we're here, essentially. Spice melange is the main component used in, or main crafting component used in pretty much all of your endgame crafting. From machines to vehicles to armor and weapons, all of it, you need spice melange for that. With that, I have managed to showcase to you the crafting costs and the reduced crafting costs and stuff like that. So for the time being, I think if we want to get some water, one of the things I might do is I might go and run through this Imperial testing station up here and show you the enemies and how much more difficult they can be in the deep desert. Now, I don't even have my armor set on, so this is going to be a bit of a risk for me, but we'll go and have a quick look at them. Luckily it's only 274 meters away, so we can just fly straight there. I'll set my respawn point, even though my base is right there, so I have a respawn point right nearby. Ah, there's the entrance right there, perfect. We could have walked that. Let's make sure we put our shield on. Now, one of the things about these Imperial testing stations, especially ones that you can find in the deeper parts of the desert, is that some of these are different to the main, like, overworld ones. Sometimes you'll walk into a room and you'll have to face waves of enemies that get harder and harder with each wave. There are a couple of those that we've found in the deep desert, like way out in the deep desert, and they were incredibly hard because the waves of enemies get harder and harder, you get more and more of them, and they hit very hard. So it's definitely something that I would recommend having a bit of endgame gear before you decide to go off and do them, especially if you're a solo player. Solo players, you're going to struggle getting into the deep desert doing the endgame stuff, just because of how much harder enemies can be. Luckily for us, we have some endgame stuff already. Oh, that is a grenade he's just thrown at me. Oh, that's 2 grenades. You little sods. Slice away at them. Go, drink some blood from them. Failed that stab. Luckily we can just use our grappling hook to stagger him and finish him off. Now, because I have Fade's Drinker, I haven't got a blood extractor on me. I didn't bother bringing one of those. I've pretty much dropped using it since I got Fade's Drinker, just because of the extra carry weight it saves, but also for the fact that it's taking up a slot on my action bar that I didn't really need to fill. When I've just got this knife, it takes over 1,000 per hit with blood, and then having the Baron's blood bag, at the minute I'm probably sat on about 5,000 to 7,000 blood already, just from those few enemies that we killed. Now, you do still need to pick up these identification bands, and some of the layouts for these areas will be very similar to what you've experienced in the deep desert so far. I am leaving a lot of the crafting components behind, the basic level ones, because I already have hundreds, if not thousands of them in my main overworld base, so if I need them, I'll just bring them over from there instead of having to collect them. So that is something you will have to do as well. You will need to see what the enemies are dropping and make decisions based on what they're dropping versus how much you have of it, if you decide to pick it up, because there are other crafting components that you can find that are harder to come by. Oh, we're being shot at. Let's try and take these guys out. I do love this pistol. Usually 1 or 2 taps most enemies in here. Oh, hello, you got up again. And you can sit down again. The only downside of using the pistol is that I don't kill them. Now, another thing you'll know from these endgame facilities is that they have these. You don't usually find these in the overworld. They don't usually have research things in them. Some of them do, but not all of them. Whereas all of the endgame ones in the deep desert do. They have these research things, and they give you anywhere from 30 to 60 intel when you pick them up. I think the first time I did an Imperial testing facility in the deep desert, it gave me 60 intel for one of those, which was pretty crazy. That was a lot of intel to gain in one fell swoop. Take some Solari, because Solari is always useful and doesn't have any carry weight, so you can pretty much carry as much of that as you want. And of course running the risk of losing it should a player attack you, kill you, and loot your corpse. Now, have I been this way? I don't think I have, because we had to walk through a purple door to get here. Yes, we have come this way. So I've gone the wrong way. We need to go back through the purple door. Ah, I think it's this one. Yes. Ah, okay, so this might be another one of those wave attack areas. I think this might be the end boss area, but this green door means that once you walk through that green door, you will have to kill all the enemies before you can leave, before you can progress onwards. And you usually get quite a lot of enemies in here as well, so this can be quite difficult. This, you'll have to make use of stealth and both melee and ranged attacks, depending on the build that you're going, of course. As you can tell, I am a swordsman. That is my main build, so to speak. Oh, he's using his shield blast attack, which can be a bit of a pain. Ow, he has broken my shield. I need to run before he kills me. Those disruptor weapons can deal a lot of damage. You have to make sure you get behind cover when they're using those. Although my shield is now back up. Always watch the little yellow bar underneath your health bar to know what your power pack is like. There you go. See, he took about half of my power pack in one burst there. There we go. The door has just said access granted, so we have now completed this zone. And there is the chest we came for, the Constellation chest, which will have some very nice, hopefully very nice recipes in there for us. There we go. Ooh, it does. We have the Albatross Wing Module Mark V, which is the better version of the Mark V wings for your scout ornithopters. They are slightly faster. Slightly faster, but they limit your maneuverability somewhat. And you also get some spice-infused duraluminum dust as well. Oh, apparently I can't pick this up. There we go. I'm going to leave these behind. I think I might take the thermoelectric coolers. They are, again, some later game crafting components, so we'll probably want those. I know I've been leaving them in some of the boxes as well. I'll also grab these whilst we're here. Now, as you will have noticed, that was duraluminum stuff that dropped there, and Mark V wings for the Scout, not Mark 6 and endgame stuff, and that is because we're in a facility that's in the very beginning part of the deep desert. As you progress further outwards, you are going to start seeing that tier 6 stuff, and the plastanium, which is the metal bar that you make from the two components, or the two materials that you gather from the deep desert, and those two materials are titanium ore and stravidium. I think it's called like a stravidium growth or something like that, and you need to use the chemical refinery on the stravidium. I believe this has just respawned. Okie dokie, I got 2 amounts of intel from here. Brilliant, I'll take that. Fantastic, we must have just gotten here in time for the reset tick on the loot, so that's pretty good. 60 intel rather than 30. Yeah, so with the titanium ore, you don't have to smelt it down into titanium bars. So unlike duraluminum, you don't have to smelt the aluminum down first and then turn it into duraluminum. You just mine the titanium ore, but then with the stravidium fibers, you have to turn those into, or stravidium growths, you have to turn those into stravidium fibers using a chemical refinery. A medium one would be better, but you can do it in a small. I think, I could be wrong about that, I haven't actually done it myself, I've only used the guild one that we have. So I will have to double check that. We will do that at some point and I'll be able to showcase it here. We'll go out and do a bit of a farm for titanium and stravidium so I can show you how to use those. You will need to turn them into fibers, and then you'll use those fibers with the titanium ore in the refinery, the metal refinery, or the ore refinery, sorry, to make plastanium bars, which is your end game metal bars. That will probably be used in the majority of your tier 6 crafting for everything, vehicles, armor, bases, machinery, all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, that is base building and the material cost and pretty much everything else I want to showcase for getting started in the deep desert. And we'll probably call the episode here for that. In our next episode, I will probably take you over to the guild base that we have set up over here, and I'll probably go and showcase maybe a spice run. If the guild is wanting to do one of those, I can show you what it's like on a spice run, and the particular role that I play in a spice run, which is to distract the worm. I am worm bait. You can use thumpers for that, but I find it easier just using myself. And I'll also try and showcase, maybe the episode after that will then do a bit of a titanium and a stravidium run. I can take the assault out, and the assault ornithopter out, and I can gather up some of those and bring them back to our base and show you how they work. And maybe, just maybe, we might even be able to get to craft some of the endgame stuff. But yeah, I think we'll call this episode here for now. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope this has been informative and helpful. Thank you, and I shall catch you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.